What if ChatGPT could build you real, back-testable trading strategies and even help you automate your trades? I'll show you two strategies that I've built, such as the RSI pullback and the EMA Ribbon, and then I'll show you a little bit of how you can automate these trades using this TradingView PineScript strategy with Pionex. Now, for the first strategy, I'll be going over the RSI pullback strategy. Now, two indicators that I really like to use are the RSI indicator and the MACD. But essentially what it is the longer the candle, the more momentum is going into the market at that moment, and it's very similar with the RSI. Now when the RSI dips below this level of 30, it means that we have somewhat oversold conditions, meaning that the stock has been sold a lot and that there's a lot of momentum going down to this direction. Now, you can see that this kind of correlates with the graph that we see over here. For example, here it went all the way down, which is, let me draw it. From here, we can see that it went all the way down, and you can see on the RSI it also went all the way down. However, this works exactly with volume, and sometimes it's able to even out, meaning that it can go all the way down, go up a little bit. For example, this over here. Right over here. So for example, you guys can see right over here that it went from here, which was around this level, all the way up to here, which on the RSI is just going to be around 49. So for this small of a move, it won't get all the way up to this level, which means overbought conditions. Now, essentially what a lot of people who don't know too much say is that over here, we want to get in around here when it crosses and then starts to get back up a little bit. So for example, this would be supposedly a good buy signal, and then we want to sell right at the peak here, but of course you won't know the peak, so it's best to sell above this second line. Now the thing is, you can see right over here that there is quite a bit of confusion with this indicator. Now the thing is, as I said before, it will even out. So you can see here there's a little bit of consolidation. It looks really ugly, but you can see there's a little bit of consolidation from this point, which is where RSI dipped and then came back and crossed over the 30. And then from the point where it would have been best to sell, this is not too much of an increase compared to this big signal over here. Here it didn't even dip as low as this, but that would have been a signal and it went all the way up. So of course, don't trade with simply the RSI strategy itself, but for a trading bot, which is trading a rather volatile market, it is available for scalping. As you can see here, this is not much of a scalp. This is more of a day trade because this runs from 1 o'clock, 1:20 to be precise, all the way till 2:45. Now that's about an hour and a half, so that's not exactly a day trade, but it is available for day trades. Now, as you can see here, in these little scalps that you would want to take, for example, something like this, it comes down, but it won't always come down. So you can see right now it's in downtrend, but it won't always go all the way down, which means that if I set my condition and my strategy to just be at this level, then it won't always hit it. Because you can see a lot of other times it comes around here, like around here, and then it goes up. So that means that 30, it doesn't need to go exactly down to 30 because that's if it's highly oversold. Now, this is the first indicator that we're going to be using for our strategy number 1. Now, of course, you can customize these strategies as much as you want, but mainly what we're doing is we're just going to head over to ChatGPT. We're going to paste this prompt that I've given it, and of course, everything is going to be in the Notion site down below. We are going to paste this prompt, and a little bit of the prompt is essentially it's role playing. If you guys know any of my videos from before, you guys know for sure that AI works best when it is role playing. Let me replace this. You are a professional PineScript version 6 developer. You know how to code indicators and strategies, and you also know the differences in their code. So I'm going to tell it some of the rules that I need, and for that you can read through it, but it's basically some common rules such as don't trigger a short, because there is no shorting specifically for this that I'm going to do, and other things are like send a start date and an end date, and all we have to do after that is we simply have to paste the code of the indicator that I'm trying to use for this strategy. Now all I need to do to get that is we see this indicator over here. We're going to click on this for the code, copy and paste it here as I've done already, and then just click on enter in ChatGPT. Now this is going to give us a full Pine script that we can copy and paste over here. Now as you guys can see over here, my script is ready. I'm simply going to take it right over here and I'm going to paste it. Now for my personal reasons, I'm going to be using the timeline from just the month of May, and as you can see here, this is kind of confusing, but let me break this all down. First, what I would recommend you do is put the settings to your actual situation. I would say around here, so let's say like 10,000 capital, but just to make it as easy as possible to see the movement, let's just set the quantity to 1, and there's no pyramiding, no nothing like that. So as you can see here, it took 11 trades, no, it took 26 trades and it made $11. But what really matters is that it's 84.62% profitable. Now this is what really matters. Of course, in trading there's lots of different levels and loopholes about, oh, what if I'm this much profitable but my risk to reward ratio is pretty large. There are some people who have like 30% profitability in their trades, but their risk to reward ratio is crazy, which means when they lose, which they do a lot of, they lose very little, and when they win tons. So that means that kind of evens out and might even break more than just evening out. So as you can see over here, this is a list of the trades, and you should really analyze this to see how it is. But main thing that you guys can see over here is you can see the signals right on the graph. Up. So right over here, for example, here. This is a good one. Right over here. Let me mark this from here. So it decides to buy over here because it dipped all the way, and then it decides to sell it right over here. Now of course it does rally on higher, but you can see that this did almost touch. So that is the signal for our indicator for our strategy to exit. Now of course this is just strategy testing, and this is just going to show you what the possibilities are, and in the Pine editor some really quick fixes that you could do right over here would be to change the input for whatever timestamp you want. Now I'm just doing Solana because that's what I personally trade. The Solana has been all over the place recently. It was better in the past 2 weeks, but now it is a little bit of a choppy situation. I'll put, of course, all of these scripts and everything in the Notion site down below. Just click on it, take the script, put it in here, and tweak some things. For example, here I have this over here. You can see that my long condition is if it actually crosses up over 26, which means if it goes all the way down and then crosses up through 26. Now you can tweak it as much as you want. Like for example, if we do 30, we can see what differences that makes. I'm not sure if that will make too much of a difference. Oh, it did make quite a difference. You can see we lost a lot of our profitability, and I think we took a little bit more trades than the last strategy, and also we lost a lot of our profits. So you can see that if I put it all the way down too, it probably wouldn't be too great. Strategy tester, yep, $2 and 1 trade. This means in the entire month of May, it only saw 1 opening to use this strategy. So of course, I'm just gonna put it back to 25, and now it's back to what it was at. So I would say this is a pretty good strategy, and later in the video, I'm going to show you how you can, I'm gonna actually reference someone else's video on how you can connect this strategy, your own strategy, and the signals that TradingView is giving you from your strategy to Pionex to actually execute these orders all automatically. So make sure you stay till the end for that. Now I'm going to dive into our second strategy of the day. Now this is a lot different of a strategy, and this actually uses something called the EMA Ribbon pullback strategy. So as for this one, this was given to me completely by ChatGPT because I don't know that many strategies that are purely based off of indicators, so this was one that I recommended. As you can see, I've put it inside of our Pine editor. Of course, I'll put this link, all this code into the Notion site down below as well. Click on that, take it. This one, personally, I wouldn't recommend it. As you can see, it literally made less money than our RSI strategy, but of course, that's only for the month of May. You would have to check before that as well to see how well it would do overall throughout the year. But you can see that it took 125 trades, which to be honest is a lot of trades, but as you notice, guys, this is Solana. Network fees are very cheap, so over trading is not much of a problem. But you can see here only 26% of it was profitable. But now, if we look through the list of all the trades, you can see that the profits are around like $1 to sometimes $6, $3, $4, and it loses very often, but it loses very little. As you can see, it's as if it has a very tight strategy, which just lets it lose, but when it runs up, it really runs up. And this is just really managing our risk, but it is over trading. Now, I would say, in my opinion, you can see that in a day, it's taking multiple trades, and majority of them are losing. Now, some quick maths. If we're 26% profitable right now, and we're taking 125 trades in an entire month, 125 divided by 30 days is going to be how many? 4 trades. And we're about 26, that's a little bit over a quarter. So 1 winning trade out of 4 trades is essentially what this strategy gets you. So you could set it to also be like, oh, if I won today, then maybe don't trade. Or if I won today, 2 more trades maximum. Because right now, if you're going to say, oh, I won once today, we can take 3 more trades, we can afford 1 win and 3 losses type of thing, then you're just going to get the results that we have over here. So in the Pine editor, of course, just hop over to ChatGPT, ask it to add these conditions. If we've already traded for the day, maybe we're over trading a little bit too much, so instead of 4 trades per day, let's try to max it out at 3, even if all of them were losing. Now, of course, that would already cut out all of our losses, which means just like our wins would be more amplified and we would have made more money over here. So this is a perfect example of how the profitability rate doesn't matter as much when you're just taking these quick short losses and you're actually winning a lot more when you're winning your trades and you're letting them run. So you can see, for example, here, one example that this trade actually did well in was here, and entered over here, and then a little bit after the peak it decided to close. Let's try to find an example when it didn't do so well. Oh, right here is another example of when it did pretty well. It decided to get in over here and it sold, but you can see kind of a common trend is that it sells after the peak. So of course it can't really know where the peak is. You can see that our RSI did know where the peak was, so I feel like it'd be pretty good if you could kind of mix and match, like make sure that you don't overtrade, add that into the 2 strategies that I'm giving in the description, and make sure that you use RSI for the exit so that you can actually get the peak, or at least somewhere near the peak, rather than getting after the peak hits and then it's already dipped down. You wouldn't want to get that. And another example where this did rather well. Oh, this is a really good example. So you can see when it wins pretty well. But of course, this could be improved by simply using RSI for the exit. So this right over here, you can see it bought over here, which was around 153, and it decided to leave at 156. Now, it might not look like a lot, but of course, with the capital that you're working with and all these other factors combined, that is pretty good. Now, let's try to find a bad example. So you can see it does take a lot of these other trades as well. This could be a not too great example. You can see here, this was definitely a losing trade. It decided to buy in here and then it sold at the dip. So you can tell this EMA Ribbon is not too great with selling, especially like you can see the exits, they're kind of after the peak, which is why, again, use ChatGPT, mix in RSI for the exit, but I would say this entry is pretty good. Like for example here, according to the RSI, we wouldn't have sold. We'd have sold around here, which is going to get us to a sell of about here. Now, of course, this is very subjective to whatever asset you're trading, but as for Solana for the past month, these 2 strategies work pretty well, and just take them, use ChatGPT to combine them together, and you should be well off. So that's it for the second strategy. Now I'm going to reference someone else's video. I'm going to show you what someone else did to be able to actually use this strategy. As you can see here, these are just signals, like they're not actually dealing with our money. Of course, you could set it to do that if you were using one of these. Now, I don't use one of these, I use Phantom to trade, so I would say that you should use Pionex if you're going to do crypto. I'm not sure how well it pairs for stocks, but I would recommend Pionex if you're going to do it with crypto. So all of these signals, you would actually be buying it. This is a video that I watched
to
that
support this
really
channel.
shows
So
how you're
thank
going
you
to use
ever so
Pionex,
much
which
if
is
you
an
do that.
exchange,
And for this occasion, I also
mix
want to
it with
announce
your
a big
TradingView
airdrop.
signals,
The first
be
10
able
to
to
register
actually
with this
execute
link
these
will
orders
get a
and make this
$25
money
bonus for
that it
free
says
for
over
trading
here.
futures.
Now, I would
and the
really
first 50
recommend in the
will get a
strategy tester
$35
checking
bonus
whether or not
after
it's worth your
depositing
time. Of course,
200.
analyze
Both
the
do accumulate,
profitability
of course,
and the
so
total
don't
trades
miss
that it's
out.
taking.
Anyway, time to
Because if you're
configure the
using
signal
stocks,
bot.
then
Actually, you
this
can
number
see
of
here
trades
that
would
I've
really be
already
bad for you.
started 2 signal bots.
Just because
These
of the
are with the
fees.
strategy
Of
that
course,
you
you
will
can
be
see here
able
if I
to
would trade
follow
stocks, I
on
only
the
made
GPT
$6,
marketplace.
and if
I'll
I
tell you all
was
about
trading
that
stocks
in a
just
minute.
because of the
For now,
fees,
let's
that
create a
probably would
new
have
one
taken it up.
together by clicking
But as you
here.
guys
You
can
can see
see, I
that
would
there's
really
also a
recommend going over
tutorial,
here
so we
to
can open
settings
it, where you
and
have
making
all
sure
the
that
details written
you
here. But what I
tinker
want to
around a
do
little
is
bit
to
with
show you
this
this
over here.
step-by-step
So you
process
can see
live.
initial
So
capital,
let's
I
click
set it
here.
to
The first thing we need to do
10,000,
is to
yours might
give
be
it a
something like
name. So we
1,000
will
or
click
even
Pionex
25,000.
GPT.
And
I won't
then
put any description.
these
Just
first
clicking
4
continue. You can
are
also
the
watch a
only ones that
video
really
for the
matter in my
tutorial.
opinion. You can
Then
see
I'll click
base
here. I
currency,
have
of course,
edited and saved the
for me
settings.
USD,
Continue. Great.
and then you can
So
see
this
that you
is
can
what we are
pyramid
going to
orders
have
as
to
well.
plug in
You would have
TradingView in
to
our
actually, I
alerts.
think you have
So
to
let's go there.
include the
There's one important change we
pyramiding
need to
orders
do to the strategy
into
to
your
configure
trading
the bot
strategy
properly.
for
So
whether
for
it's
this,
going
we
to
will
add on
click on
another
the
order
gear
or
here
not.
and then come here
But
on
I think
properties.
it's just as
This
if
is what is
it
detailed
gets
at
another
this point
signal,
in the
then you
tutorial.
will
We need to
buy
change
another
this
order.
here to
And then
USDT.
quantity just
Then
means
we need
how
to
many
make sure
of
we have a
this
1
asset
in
are
the
you going to
pyramid
buy.
in here.
For
This
here,
means
I
that
just
only
said
one
1 for
position
Solana
can be
because it's a
taken
lot
at a
easier to
time.
see
Then we come
how
down to
much
here,
Solana went
click on
up and
Save
how
as
much it's
default,
actually
and
going to
then
make you.
OK. You
Well,
will
of
see
course,
that
make
it
sure that you
did
tinker with that,
change
but
the
here's a
look
video,
of
it
the
really shows you. This guy's on TradingView right
backlight.
now, but in this video, he talks about how you can use
Nice. I'll tell you.
Pionex. And Pionex has a lot of other trading bots as well, so you could check those out. Make sure to check this guy's channel out to check out what he says about Pionex. But I would really recommend this video because it shows you how you're going to connect your TradingView in your TradingView strategy, which is just these signals over here, and actually execute these orders. So I'll link his video in the comments down below. Make sure to check it out if you're serious about this. Now, of course, just a quick thing to say about these trading bots is that all trading bots do well when the market is good, but of course, some trading bots are much more profitable and their percentages are much better, along with their risk to reward ratio. Everything is a lot better when you work harder to make your bot better. I would really recommend after watching this video, you should take my code, hop over to ChatGPT and mix and match them just to see how they would work. As I said before, if you watch this entire video with the EMA Ribbon strategy, it's exiting a little too late, which means that, for example, even here, we could have made some money, or we could have at least broken even a little bit and paid for the fees through that. Of course, it's Solana, so no fees at all, but you guys know what I mean. I would recommend using the RSI strategy overall because it's much more profitable, and even though it doesn't make too much money, it is much more profitable, and in my opinion, that's what matters a little bit more. But I would also recommend you guys mix and match these. So RSI is a little bit better in choppy markets, but the thing is, if it's too choppy and you have like a long range like this is absolutely no movement at all. This is not good. You don't want to be trading RSI during this time. But you could try out how EMA works. Of course, these results that I've shown with these two strategies in TradingView are only in the month of May, and Solana has been through a lot of stuff in May. You can see here it has crazy pullbacks all the way down, and then it goes up pretty largely. And for example, here it goes down crazily as well, and then it has some certain periods of consolidation. So yeah, take it however you want to. I would say you should mix and match because overall that'd be a much better strategy. And comment down below what video you'd like to see next. If you've made it this far in the video, thank you very much for watching this video. A lot of other AI agents and trading strategies are coming in the future, and I'm going to continue to tinker with this. If I can get a really good one, I'll make sure to put it in a video. Now, all of the scripts and the link to his video to make your Pionex bot are in the Notion site down below. Make sure to check it out, show him some love, and make sure to like and subscribe for more. Bye.